1692 means we got shots fired 4:15 at the Route 91. Sounded like an automatic firearm. We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the fairgrounds.
She didn't know if she was going to live or die. I didn't know what to do. She said, where should I hide? Where should I go?
It literally felt like it just continued for 20 minutes straight.
There was a gentleman that was shot, and he said, can you help me? And so I put him in my car, and I had like 6 people in my car, people with shoes, running just to get away. And
he saved my life. I mean, he shielded me from the bullets.
Just them hit the ground. I mean, there's the guy in front of us who's running, got shot in his back, and he was still running.
All I remember is we have to get the hell out of here.
The bullets wouldn't stop. It was just like a constant shower of bullets.
The shots just kept coming.
People just started dropping around us. A lot of dead bodies, a lot of people were just piling on top of whoever, even if they're bleeding or not.
I don't know his name. I can barely remember what he looked like, but he completely covered me. He covered my face. He said, I've got you. It's just truly incredible. A stranger, jumping over me to protect me.
There are crazy people out there. They shot into a crowd of 30,000 people in a concert. It's insane.
There was a question. Didn't know how to answer it. And the question was, why? Why did he shoot Mommy?
The world has changed. And who would have ever imagined this situation? I couldn't imagine it. And for this individual to take it upon himself to create this chaos and harm is unspeakable.
We can't do anything but celebrate the community coming together today, because it's the only thing that will get us through this tragedy and help our young ones understand that when somebody knocks you down, there's always many, many more who are there to pick you up and help us get through this difficult time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special edition of the Means Report. I'm Brad Means, and we appreciate you, as always, spending part of your day with us, a day that comes just about 1 week after the worst mass shooting in modern U.S. history. And so we knew the minute this horrible news broke that we wanted to try to do a broadcast this week that put some perspective on the tragedy and maybe can give us some sort of understanding as to why things like this continue to occur and how we can cope with them when they unfortunately do. And we have a couple of experts that I think you'll appreciate over the next 27 minutes or so. First of all, Dr. Mike Vitacco. He's a forensic psychologist with the Medical College of Georgia at Augusta University. Dr. Vitacco, I know you have a busy schedule, and I know it's been a very bad week for all of us. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to talk to you about why people like Stephen Paddock do the things they do, and if there's anything we can tell from their brains or from interviews with them that might give us a heads up about that. But before we get to the interview, yes, I want to listen to a comment from Stephen Paddock, the gunman's brother, right after this incident happened, when reporters asked him to tell us how in the world this could occur.
There's absolutely no way I can even conceive that my brother would shoot a bunch of people he doesn't even know. He liked to play video poker. He went on cruises. He sent his mother cookies.
He did not own machine guns that I knew of in any way, shape, or form.
We have recovered 23 firearms at Mandalay Bay and 19 firearms at his home in Mesquite.
The gunman purchased rifles, shotguns, and pistols. At this time, none of the guns recovered appear to be homemade.
This is a crazed lunatic full of hate.
So quite the contrast there. Stephen Paddock's brother saying he was a man who sent his mother cookies, experts saying he was a crazed lunatic. I guess the headline here, Dr. Vitacco, is unlike some madmen, this isn't someone who just snapped, apparently.
There's a lot of planning and preparation, obviously before the murder and even the murders, even after the murders, including the fact that he had cameras at the door, so he was well aware of when the law enforcement was approaching him, and that might have actually been the impetus for his suicide.
Okay, so that just makes it even more confusing, because if he didn't snap, sometimes that's somewhat easier to understand because someone just broke and they did something horrible.
That's right.
But if he didn't snap and he did all this meticulous planning, how come nobody picked up on it?
Well, We're going to learn a lot more, I think, in the next several weeks. I mean, part of the issue here is, of course, is that he did take his own life.
Yeah.
So a lot of the questions that we would have, or he would have answered, if he were to be alive, he's not there to do such things. So there's a lot of speculation, and one of the concerns here is there's going to be a lot of hindsight bias. We're going to look back a lot and say, oh, we should have picked up on this and should have picked up on that. When in reality, especially in events that happen so infrequently, that's very hard to do.
First of all, I want to let the people know what you do. Is your job mainly to talk to people and find out how they tick, or is your job, at least in the sense that we're talking about today, to take the witness stand for attorneys and to let them question you?
Sure, I do a little of both. My primary job is I see individuals who are charged with crimes who may or may not have mental health issues, and then I advise the court on their mental status and their mental health, and to see if they're able to go to trial, if they're able to proceed to trial, or if they were not responsible at the time of their offense because of mental health issues.
Are there any common threads running through most criminals? Are they people who have, as we read, been rejected, or people who have had some sort of something bad befall them?
Well, I mean, some of that is clearly true. I think one of the things we know from some of these individuals that we're seeing now who commit such heinous acts is that there's clearly a lot of anger. That they have a lot of revenge. They tend to hold on to things very long, and sort of that combination of things ultimately accumulates in some of these actions.
What are some of the questions that you ask, or what are some of the ways that you can determine what's really going on inside someone's mind instead of a criminal trying to just answer your questions and deceive you?
Well, one of the ways we do that is exactly how we're talking now. We look at evidence, we look at police reports, we look at videos, we look at the evidence leading up to the crime, during the crime, and after the crime. So some of the things we see here, for example, is his purchasing of all these firearms, his scoping of hotel rooms. It looks like there might have even been a plan before this that he looked at. The placing of the cameras, all these things in combination, again, seems to suggest someone who, at least on many levels, was very planful, was very meticulous, and didn't just snap, and maybe wasn't that mentally ill at the time of the offense. I think many of these things still have yet to be answered.
From a criminal's point of view, from a madman's point of view, what does doing this resolve for them? How does it make them feel better?
Well, they're extracting their revenge on people that they feel have somehow wronged them.
How could a crowd of concert goers have wronged them? And I'm sure in his mind, he could answer that question.
Sure.
How does he feel that the concert goers wronged him?
I think some of that needs to be yet answered. I don't think he directed that at anybody. I think he directed it at society in general.
Okay, so they represented society.
If we're speculating, that's a possibility.
Sure, and I know that the specifics of this case, as you mentioned, still have yet to come out. Can people be fixed? Have you found that through your interviews with the bad guys of the world that they can change their ways if you get to them before things go too wrong?
I mean, we use general terms like that, but the earlier you can catch these things, the earlier you can catch maybe a child before they get into adulthood. The research has shown that there's a lot of possibility that therapeutic interventions, can have a positive effect. Now with this gentleman, again, there's a lot to yet be learned, and there's many things we don't know. We heard his brother talking about how he was, quote unquote, a normal guy.
Yeah.
He had, he worked in employment, so he's probably not someone who would have shown up on anyone's radar.
So these things are going to happen again. I had a guest not too long ago tell me they are the new normal. I mean, if you can't even tell that somebody is about to lose it, then America and the world can expect more where this came from, right?
Well, there's going to be more attacks, and we had not just seen that in our country. We've even seen it overseas.
That's right.
Where, of course, there's very strict gun laws, but they have still found ways using vehicles now and various devices to cause a lot of devastation and havoc toward people.
As parents, as caregivers, how can we tell if our child might be about to go down a dark path?
Well, I think it's very important. Of course, a lot of psychologists will tell you that, to keep communication lines open, to be positive with them, to talk with them on a daily basis, to be aware if they're being bullied or if they are the bullier. And I think both of those things have very negative consequences for the future. Those things are very predictive.
Is abuse of animals a big warning sign still? That seems like something we see on TV a lot.
I think it continues to be a warning sign. Abuse of animals, bullying, these are things we would look for in children who might have psychological problems that could later on develop to have even greater problems in the criminal justice system.
Can violent tendencies at the level that we're witnessing here be inherited?
You know, that's a question that really hasn't been very well answered. Mm-hmm. But probably not. I mean, and here's the thing we have here, and this is what I'm saying here is a good thing. These events, despite the fact that they're becoming more common, still don't happen all that much. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at a very low base rate event, a thing that happens very infrequently, which also makes prediction very difficult.
You mentioned that sometimes the attacker is taking out his or her frustrations on society, hence the large random crowd of concert goers. Does the killer ever perceive themselves as receiving a reward through martyrdom or through suicide? In other words, does their mind ever go to the afterlife and say, you know, I'll do this, I'll kill myself, and people will remember me?
Well, we certainly see some of that martyrdom in terroristic attacks that have some religious overtone.
Sure.
That necessarily does not seem to be the case here. You know, he may have committed suicide just because he didn't want to be caught. He may have committed suicide so, you know, he didn't have to answer all these questions. A lot of things there we don't know, but it doesn't appear that religious issues and martyrdom was the reason in this case, although it certainly is in some other cases.
I think the scariest part of our entire interview has been that Stephen Paddock could be sitting at this table right now for a psychological evaluation, and you or other experts in the field might not pick up on anything.
That's exactly correct.
Well, we appreciate you giving us some insight into what you do, and I appreciate what you do.
Thank you, sir.
And I do thank you for your time, Michael, very much.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Dr. Michael Vitacco, forensic psychologist at the Medical College of Georgia at Augusta University. What a wealth of resources they have down there at AU for us. When we come back, how do we handle all this from a grief standpoint, especially something that nobody saw coming? How can we as a society and those victims and survivors as individuals process Las Vegas when we come back?